Okay, welcome to installment 4 of my process of creating a little UFO game. So, to pick up where we left off, we thus far have a ship that we can drive side to side, and we got some little guys, and they're wandering around. I did a couple things off camera. I turned down the rate at which these guys wander, so right now they're set to grab a number between -1 and 1 in each direction. So they can move at most, 1 pixel over and 1 pixel up, or 1 pixel back and 1 pixel down. So square root of 2 pixels, I guess. 2 pixels. Okay, so that I changed. And then I changed one other thing, which is in the player object. And the thing I've changed in the player object, I actually changed it in the sprites, but I noticed that before my tilted sprites were actually animating faster. So when I drove to the left or right, the sprite went quicker. So I looked at the sprites and I found that they were animated at 30 FPS. I did feel like the behavior was cool. So I now have these guys animated at 10 FPS, and the idle one is animated at 5. So when you're tipped sideways, the lights cycle twice as fast, which, I don't know, kind of makes sense. The person I was chatting with said that it looked like the engines were working harder, which like tracks. So I thought it was kind of a feature. This is, bug becomes a feature. I did slow it down a little bit because it was 6 times faster, and now it's only twice as fast. All right, so today's goal is to get a tractor beam working. And so the first thing I'm going to do for that is I'm going to create some kind of a tractor beam sprite. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create a sprite. Alright, so first things first, we're going to resize our image, and I'm going to make this 64 pixels wide, and we're going to go for 256 pixels tall. Okay, so that's made my image. We're going to go in and we're going to edit our image. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to make basically a little bit of a gradient. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a nice... Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my pencil tool, and I'm going to find pixel 32. Oops. I'm going to find pixel 32. I'm going to hold shift, and we're going to find pixel 32 again all the way at the bottom. Okay, so now I've marked out the blue line is 1 pixel on the right-hand side. So now I'm going to go ahead and create myself a little bit of a gradient here. So I'm going to zoom in a little ways, and we'll go up to the top, and we're going to just create a little gradient here, and then we'll stitch it together. So I'm going to start with a nice pale green and a filled rectangle tool. And I'm going to go nice pale green over to the side. Then I'm going to go slightly less pale green over to the side. Then I'm going to go slightly less pale green over to the side. Oops, looks like I probably could have made that 1 pixel wider. I think it's okay. And then we're going to go kind of a slightly bluish green. And then we're going to go for another bluish. And oops. And I think that's all I'm going to do. Let's see. Should we make one more adjustment by lightening that blue? Maybe. Okay. So then I've got my little tractor beam piece here, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and Control C that selection. And then I'm just going to paste it. I'm going to paste it. Paste it. You can't really see that I'm scrolling here, but I'm scrolling down. So I'm just scrolling down and pasting this. Okay, so there's my gradient top to bottom there. And then I'm going to mirror this. And then I'm just going to make sure that I'm just barely erasing that blue line. So one pixel over that blue line. And I'm just scooting down, paste, scoot down, paste, scoot down, paste. Okay, so there's my tractor beam looking thing. All right, so I'm going to close that. Yeah, that's going to look cool. I think that'll look cool. All right, and then I'm going to go into my OBJ player. And this is where we're going to get some controls. So we're going to add an event, and my event is going to be, let's see. Oh, I'm going to do key down, and I'm going to put a space bar. Okay, so when this, oh no, I don't want to do a key down. I definitely don't want to do a key down. I want to do a key pressed spacebar. Okay, so when we press the spacebar, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make a... We're going to want to create an instance. Oh, but we haven't made an object for the tractor beam, so that's where I'm going to need to come in here. And I'm going to handle my tractor beam. So let's go grab our Let's first make a tractor beam object. So I'm going to create an object that's going to be OBJ tractor beam. Oops, that's not how you spell tractor. Okay, and I'm going to set the sprite for that to, oops, in UFO sprites, the tractor beam. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do there. And then I'm going to need to grab this sprite. And so right now we're handling the sprite by the top left. I'm going to make our sprite handle by the top center because I'm going to try to create that thing so that the UFO, so that the top center of the tractor beam is the middle of the UFO. We'll see if we can get that to work. All right, so I wanted my OBJ player. In the key press event, we're going to create a tractor beam instance at 0, 0. So that's going to be at the same position as the ship. Oops, cancel. I want that. And then we're going to add another event that's going to be key up space. And the event that we're going to add here, or the stuff we're going to add in this, is we're going to add destroy instance. And the thing I want to destroy is going to be all the tractor beam objects. So that's going to remove the tractor beam object. So when we press the space key, that'll create one. And when we let the space key up, that should destroy one. Let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, something's wrong. Okay. Well, it's appearing on the screen. That's good. Looks like I'm maybe handling my UFO sprite by the top. So let's go check our UFO sprite handling. Yep, that one's handled by the top. So I want that to be handled middle center. I want that one to be handled by the middle center. I want that one to be handled by the middle center. And just for kicks, let's change that one. Okay, so now all of our UFO sprites are handled by middle center. I should have set that the first video, but shit happens. Okay, so now my tractor beam works. I can't drive the ship up or down. Does look like the tractor beam needs to be a bit longer. Okay, so let's see if we can just resize that sprite. So, let's see. Oh, I wanted to know how much longer to make it. looks to me like that needs to be about 100 pixels longer, so let's try that. So let's do resize. I want to remove maintain the aspect ratio, and I want to make this 356 pixels long. Oh, good, and it smeared it for us. That's good. Okay, looks a little short still, probably a couple more pixels. So let's make that 370 pixels. I think if it's actually a little bit onto the... Oops. God damn it. Okay, so we'll Control Z that, and we'll go in and uncheck maintain aspect ratio and make it 370 pixels. Okay, let's see how that looks. Boop. I feel like that looks pretty good. If it followed the ship, I'd be in really stellar shape. So let's get it to follow the ship. So we're going to need to go into OBJ tractor beam, and I'm going to need to add a step event. Okay, and the step event I'm going to need to add is going to have to do with the ship. Let's see. So let's do this. Let's do assign a variable, and let's assign this thing's x variable, and we'll assign it to obj.ship. No, it's not obj.ship. It's obj_player. Dang it. I keep hitting tab instead of, and then we want to go, instead of enter, and then I want to go .x. And I want to assign another variable. This is just in case I move the ship up and down later. We want to assign the y to obj_player.y. Okay, let's run this, and let's see if I... Oh, hell yeah. I'm freaking psyched that worked. Okay, cool. So now we got that working. All right, so then we need to go into our little people. So obj person, I'm going to add an event to obj person, and it's going to be a collision event with the tractor beam object. And if we're colliding with the tractor beam object, what we're going to do is we're going to assign the y variable of our guy to, we'll do 3, and we'll do that relative. So that's going to add 3. Oops, that's going to go the wrong way. I want to do -3 to move them up. So let's check and make sure that's working. Okay, so, oops. Cool. Alright, so they're moving up at least. Now they're stuck up there, though. So I want to do some adjustments. So first adjustment, I want to make them go back down when I let go of the tractor beam. So that's going to be... I've got this Y speed thing. That's wandering them around on the ground, right? So I want to do a else for the Y one. So the Y one here is saying if we're within that bounded green box, right? So if we're within that, if we're on the grass, then they'll wander around up or down. And what I want them to do is if they're on the grass, I want them to fall. So I need to add to their Y value. So here we're just going to go grab an assign variable. And we're going to drop that into our else. And we're going to say, I want their Y to go up by, let's say, 2. And we'll make that relative. So that should scoot them down. They'll fall at a constant rate instead of accelerating. Yeah, whatever. It'll be fine. Okay, so now if I pick a guy up and let him go, they'll drop to the ground. Okay, and then I want to add one thing. I want to be able to like pick them up and carry them around in the tractor beam. So let's go into our collision here. So this is the lifting part, right? So if we're lifting them, let's see. I want to move them over, but I don't want to move them over too fast. I want you to be able to drive too fast that they'll like fall out of the tractor beam. So what I'm going to do here is I want to assign their X position, and I want to assign their X position to, let's see, how am I going to do that? I want them to move at most 1 pixel, but I need to know whether they should move to the right or to the left. I wonder if there's a sign function in this language. Perfect. There's a sign function. So we're going to take X and subtract obj underscore player dot X. So that'll be if the ship is to the right of the person. Oops, I'm going to want to do this the other way. I'm going to want to do obj player dot X minus their X. So if the ship is further to the right of them, the sign will be positive because obj player will be bigger than, obj player's X will be bigger than the person's X, so we'll get a positive number. So sign will return +1. If the player is to the left, then we'll get a negative number out of the subtraction, and sign will be -1. So this should let us drag them around a little bit. Oops. That didn't work. So the reason that didn't work was I didn't put the relative here, so that guy just disappeared and went to the other side of the screen. So now we should be, if I pick them up and drive slow enough, feels like 1's real slow. Okay, let's make it 2. Okay, this would be a good spot for a comment, so let's write a comment here. So the comment I'm going to write is going to be, make the person follow the ship horizontally. Okay, alright, so let's try that. All right, so we're moving up. That's great. Notice they're still swaying side to side, which I'm not the biggest fan of. We might want to stop that behavior. But the first thing I want to do is I want to get them abducting into the ship. So I want to get them to disappear at least. So in order to get them to disappear, we're going to need another collision event. So we're going to do add event collision objects player. So if they hit the player, then we'll want to just do a good old-fashioned destroy instance. And we'll want to do a little text display. And we'll want to draw this basically where they were, but maybe shifted up, say, I don't know, 100 pixels. And what I wanted to say is something like abducted. I'm not sure if this is going to work. This might really flicker. Oh man, I'm going to need to make the abduction speed faster for, yeah. I'm going to need to make the abduction speed way faster for testing here. But they are at least disappearing. Oh, I know why it's not working. Because I'm destroying it before I draw the value. You gotta draw the value before you destroy the instance. That makes sense. Because if you destroy the instance, then it doesn't have, like, there's no more instance. Who's gonna draw the value? It still isn't working. I think it's drawing it, but it's probably... Yeah. Alright. Let's see. I think that's basically working, except for the drawing. The drawing's not working well. So let's discard that as an idea. It's just not going to work there, I think. And let's get a method to see that this is working. So let's make a game object. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click create. I'm going to create an object. That's going to be a obj game. And this is going to be my kind of scorekeeping guy. Okay, so my scorekeeping guy, we're just going to go ahead and add a variable. The variable I want to add is score. Oh, there's a built-in variable for score? Never mind. I don't need to add that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add event. We're going to add a draw event. And in our draw event, all I want it to do is draw a value. And the value I want it to draw is going to be deductions. And I want to use the score variable. And then I want to go back into our person. And when we destroy the instance, we're going to do an assigned variable. And the variable I want to play with is obj game. Nope. Obj game dot score. Oh, is score a global? Let's go make ourselves a custom score. So I want to be an obj game. I'm going to do variable definitions. We're going to add score here. We're going to start it at 0. It's going to be an integer. Great. So I think the way the scoping works is this is going to hit this score before it hits the global score, but let's check and see if that works. I'm not getting anything drawing up here. Oh, you know why I'm not getting anything? Oh, perfect. Unable to find instance... Okay, so the reason it can't find an instance is that my room does not contain a game object. So I'm just going to drag obj game into the room, and then we'll run it. Oh, and you know what? I said I was going to fix the abduction speed. So let's make this go real fast for now. So we'll more than double it. Okay, so I do have that drawing up here, but we're not adding to it. So let's go into our obj game, and let's try renaming this. Let's call it abductions. We'll call that abductions. We'll go into our person, and when they hit the player object, we'll do obj game dot abductions, and we'll add one to that. Let's see if that works any better. Cool. So I was having a scoping problem, which is relatively common. Oop. Okay, I do need to make them accelerate when they fall. That seems like an obvious thing. And I want to be able to abduct them from further down. So I need to be able to move this ship up and down. But I'm going to call this a success for right now. So I've got other stuff that I want to work on, but it's been a minute, so we'll call it there. Thanks for watching this one. I will catch you guys on the next one.